Hey everybody, welcome back to the Mana Burn. This is Steve. Today we're going to be doing a deck tech for Pako, Arcan Retriever and Haldan, Avid Arcanist. This is going to be a $250 budget deck tech with a pretty interesting win con. It's a win con that's been used before, or you might have seen it before, but it's going to be pretty fun. So let's start off. Pako, Arcane Retriever, is 3 colorless, green, red for a 3/3. Partner with Haldan, and he has haste. Whenever Pako attacks, exile the top card of each player's library and put a fetch counter on each of them, and then put a +1/+1 counter on Pako for each non-creature exiled this way. And then you have Haldan. You may play non-creature cards from exile with fetch counters on them if you exiled them. And you may spend mana as though it were any color to cast these spells. And he's 2 colorless and a blue for a 1/4. So these are going to be your commanders. So these are going to sit in your command zone. And they actually serve as a specific purpose as SAP outlets actually for your win con. So let's get into the win con here, which is going to be... oh, sorry, I hit the wrong button there. Which is going to be Divergent transformations. I'm sorry. There we go. Sorry about that. So 6 colorless and a red. I'm still getting used to the setup here. So it's 6 colorless and a red for an instant. It's undaunted, which means if you're in a 4-person group, it'll actually cost you 3 colorless and a red instead of 6 and a red. It reads, exile 2 target creatures. For each of those creatures, its controller reveals cards from the top of his or her library until he or she reveals a creature card, puts that card onto the battlefield, then shuffles the rest into his or her library. So, you guessed it, this deck only has 4 creatures. It's got your 2 commanders, which are going to be your sack outlets, which you're going to exile with Divergent transformations. And then you have 2 more creatures. Your first one is going to be Leveler. When Leveler comes into play, remove your library from the game. It's 5 casting cost with a 10/10. And this is going to be the last creature you play. So when you use Divergent transformations, you're going to go get 2 creatures. It's going to be Leveler, which will be the last card you play. And the first card you're going to play is Thassa's Oracle. So it's 2 blue for 1/3 when Thassa's Oracle enters the battlefield. Again, forget about all the text. The only thing that matters is if you have no cards in your library, you win the game. So he's going to look at the top X cards of your library, where X is your devotion to blue. Even your devotion is only 2. You put Leveler on the battlefield. You put Thassa's Oracle on the battlefield. It's game over. Leveler is going to exile the grave or exile your library. Thassa's is going to come in, see that you don't have a library, and you win the game. So basically, it's a 3-card combo, but really all you need is both your commanders out and Divergent transformation. So if things are done correctly, you could probably pull this off by turn 4. If you get Haldan on turn 2, Pako turn 3, Divine transformation turn 4. So it's a pretty good janky combo, but it's an instant win, and it's well within our $250 budget that we're working with. So how are we going to get to this combination? Or how are we going to get Divergent transformations out and get all of our other stuff out quicker? It's going to be pretty easy. We've got a lot of mana ramp, maybe not a lot, but 7-8 cards. So we've got Cultivate, Arcane Signet. We're going to have Izzet Signet in here, Soul Ring. Our Wayfarer's Bauble, which is tap 2, sack it, get a basic land, put on the battlefield tapped. Farseek, you search your library for a plains, island, swamp, or mountain. This will go get us our Triome, or if you have upgrades to the deck and you have dual lands and stuff, you can obviously throw that in there. And then Crop Rotation is our last one for the mana ramp. So we've got about 7 cards for mana ramp there. We've got our non-basic lands in here as well. The first one's going to be Alchemist's Refuge. You may cast non-land cards this turn as though they had flash, which is going to be helpful if you can, late game, it'll help out. Get one of your commanders out before your turn, get the other one out on your turn, or something like that. Or if you have Leveler and and or Thassa's Oracle in your hand. You don't even need Divergent Transformation then. You just need to cast both cards. So maybe you cast Leveler, or you cast... No, you couldn't do it during somebody else's turn with Flash, but because Leveler is going to exile your graveyard. Well, I guess then you could. If you have the mana, you could do them both during somebody else's turn. So, yeah, no problem there. Oops, sorry. We had a couple of more. We have the Frontier Bivouac, which is the Tri-land Reliquary Tower, and then the Ketria Triome. So those are the 4 non-basic lands that are in the deck. Other than that, it's mainly all just basic lands. Now we'll get into some of the utility with the deck. One of the cards is going to be Evolution Charm. It's going to help you search for basic lands. The big thing with this is return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. If somebody ends up killing Leveler or one of your commanders and you want to go to the graveyard, Evolution Charm is going to let you get that back. Wilderness Reclamation. You get to untap all your lands at your end step. Reclaim, again, get a card from your graveyard, put on top of your library. So if Leveler or if Divine Transformation gets thrown away, you can go get it. Same thing with Regrowth. Noxious Revival. Again, this one's better because if you're all tapped out, you can still go get it by paying 2 life. And you get to put a card from, again, your graveyard on top of your library. So a lot of graveyard recursion. Now we have Cindervines as well. This is just going to help control the board a little bit. You can destroy an artifact or enchantment, and Cindervine deals 2 points of damage to that permanent's controller. And that's going to cost you red and a green and 1 colorless. However, when he's on the battlefield, whenever an opponent casts a non-creature spell, it deals 1 point of damage to that player. So, good for the utility. And now we've got Legacy's Allure. So at the beginning of your upkeep, you put a counter on it, and you sacrifice Legacy's Allure, and you gain control of target creature with power less than or equal to the number of treasure counters on Legacy's Allure. I put this in here, basically, let's say you cast your commander a couple times, and it's just too high of a casting cost, but you have Legacy's Allure on here, and you have to sack 2 creatures. You can go grab somebody's token or whatever you need to help you with a sack outlet for the creature. Narset's Reversal, pretty self-explanatory. Copy target instant or sorcery spell, and then return it to its owner's hand. You may choose new copies for the target. This is more or less to protect you for at least an extra turn, because again, whatever you copy is going to go back to the person's hand. So it's just more or less to help you out and delay the game. Stolen Strategy. At the beginning of your upkeep, exile the top card of each opponent's library, and until the end of turn, you may cast non-land cards from among those exiled this way, and you can spend mana of any color. So again, help with controlling the board in the game. Peer's Whim. For each player, choose friend or foe. Each friend searches their library for a land, puts it on the battlefield tap, then shuffles their library. Each foe sacks an artifact or enchantment they control. So again, more control, and it's also good for you to be able to for a mana ramp. And for 4 mana, you can return target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard to your hand. This is going to help get your Divine Transformation back, so that you can recast it. Oops. All right. And now we're going to go through. We do have a few tutors in here. Oh, see, I keep hitting the wrong button. Okay. So we have Acquire. Search target opponent's library for an artifact to put it onto play under your control. That player shuffles his or her library. I love this card for 5 mana. It's a little bit high on the casting cost, but as far as financial goes, it's really not that all that expensive. And you get to go get something out of an opponent's library. So if you know somebody's playing with Indestructible, or you know a Mox Diamond or a Mana Crypt or something like that, and you need the mana ramp, you can go get it. So it's a good little card to have. Next is going to be Library of Latnam. Target opponent chooses. You draw 3 cards at the beginning of your next turn, or you search your library for a card, put it in your hand, then shuffle your library. Again, self-explanatory. It's going to help you tutor out whatever you want, or let you draw cards. Either way, not bad. Merchant Scroll. Search your library for a blue instant card, reveal it, put it in your hand, shuffle your library. Sentinel Flute. This is another tutor, and this is going to help you go get your Leveler. Search your library for a creature card with converted mana cost X or less. Reveal it, put it in your hand, shuffle your library. It costs 5 to bring out, so you can cast it. You can obviously go get Leveler on the very next turn for the 5 mana as well, because that's its casting cost. Bring to light. You're going to search your library for a creature, instant, or sorcery with converted mana costs equal to or less than the number of colors spent. So if you're going to get your Thassa's Oracle, you just need to spend the 5 with the green and the blue. If you need something that's a 3 CMC, you can use red, so you can go and get that as well. So you can get anything basically 3 CMC or less if need be. And then Mystical Tutor. Search your library for an instant. This is going to go get your win con. Fabricate's going to help you go get Leveler. Court of Calling, again, another way to go and get your 2 creatures that you need to win. So search your library for a creature card with converted mana cost X or less and put it on the battlefield, then shuffle your library. So this will help you go get Leveler or Thassa's Oracle if you already have the other one in your hand. Weir of Invention. Search your library for an artifact with X or less. Put it on the battlefield, then shuffle your library. So again, this is going to help you go get Leveler for your win con. Eldritch Evolution, same thing. As an additional cost, sack a creature. Search your library for a creature card with converted mana costs X or less, where X is 2+. So this will let you go get any one of your 2 win cons, because you only have 2 creatures that you can actually sacrifice, which are going to be your 2 commanders. One is a 3 CMC, the other one's a 5 CMC. So getting Thassa's Oracle's 2 or getting Leveler's 5. So again, another way to go cheat out your commander. And then I put in Personal Tutor. Search your library for a sorcery. Reveal that card, put it on top. If you're going to be getting card draw, things like that, it's a great card to have in the deck. It's probably the most expensive card in the deck as well, but again, we needed as many tutors as we can to try to get through the deck, or try to get through the cards. Muddle the Mixture. 2 mana, counter target instant or sorcery spell, or, which the main reason why it's in here is for transmute. You can discard this card and search your library for a card with the same CMC. 2 blue mana, so it's 2 CMC, and Thassa's Oracle's 2 CMC, so you could go and get that. Now we have long-term plans. Search your library for a card, shuffle your library, then put that card 3rd from the top. So again, you just go find your win con, put it 3rd from the top, and hopefully you get to pull it shortly thereafter. And then Finale of Devastation. Again, another tutor to go get the creature that you need to win. And then Acquire, which we've already gone over. Alright, so this is for card draw here. We have our Brainstorm. Draw 3 cards, put 2 cards from your hand on top of your library. If you've done long-term plans, you're going to go get your win con. Then there's Opt, which is scry 1, draw a card. Faithless Looting, draw 2 cards, discard 2 cards. And then it's got Flashback, again, just to help you draw through your library and to get to your win cons. Mystic Remora, cumulative upkeep of 1. So even if you only keep this on the battlefield for 3 or 4 turns, you're going to be able to draw a lot of cards, so it's a great card. And then Serum Vision, draw a card, scry 2. Plea for Power. So starting with you, each player votes for time or knowledge. If time gets more votes, you take an extra turn. If knowledge gets more votes or is tied, you draw 3 cards. Well, if you've already gone through and gotten your win con, or you put your long-term plans, excuse me, so you got your win con 3 cards from the top, they might even let you take an extra turn instead of drawing the 3 cards. So still a good card though. And then Compost. Whenever a black card is put into an opponent's graveyard, you may draw a card. I put this in here because it's not used very often. But if you're playing a 4-person pod, the odds are somebody's going to have black. And it's a black card. It doesn't have to be anything else. If they cast a demonic tutor, you're drawing a card. If they board wipe and they kill 5 creatures that are black, you're drawing 5-6 cards. So great card to have and to help you with your card draw and help you tutor into the wins, basically, or draw into your wins. Pull from Tomorrow, draw X cards, then discard a card. So draw 20, discard 1. Depending on what time of the game is, you can draw 5, discard 1. Either way, great card. Mind's Eye, another way to help draw. Whenever an opponent draws a card, you can pay 1, and if you do, you draw a card. Ponder, look at the top 3 cards of your library, put them back in any order. you may shuffle your library and then draw a card. And then Growth Spiral, draw a card and put a land onto the battlefield if you have one in your hand. And that should be the last one. Yep, okay. There are no creatures, so you will not see any in here. The only creatures are in the win con, so I don't have any other creatures, so there's nothing really to go over with those. But Reality Shift, exile target creature, and its controller manifests the top card of their library. Just a little bit of control there, removal. Same thing with Chaos Warp. You're gonna have an opponent shuffle their card into the library and then top deck until they get to a permanent. Starstorm deals X damage to each creature. So if you have your win cons out, you could do this for 2, you know, get rid of all those pesky tokens, or you can cycle it and draw a card if you want. Volcanic Fallout. All of your creatures' power is 3 or high, or toughness is 3 or greater. So for 3 mana, it can't be countered, and it deals 2 damage to each creature and each player. So it's a good little control card there to help you. And then Nature's Claim, for 1 mana, you destroy an artifact or enchantment, and its controller gains 4 life. We really don't care about if somebody has a lot of life, we just care about the overall winning. Now we've got Rending Vines, which is 1 green, and destroy an artifact if it's or enchantment if its converted mana cost is less than or equal to the number of cards in your hand, and you draw a card. So another cheap removal. And then Pyroclasm, great card again, deals 2 damage to each creature. So for you, all your stuff is going to live. It is not a problem. And then Sweltering Suns deals 3 damage to each creature. This is one that obviously you don't want to play while you have your Thassa out because you don't want her to die. But other than that, you're all right. And then Vandal Blast, destroy an artifact for 1 mana, or for 5, destroy all artifacts. So obviously, if you don't have your leveler out, then you're not, you know, maybe you have a few mana rocks, but it'll be worth it if you're going up against an artifact deck. And then Blasphemous Act, another board wipe to help control the board if you're in a state where you're pretty far behind. And that's it for the removal. We have a couple of counter spells. We have Negate, a Rewind, which is counter any spell on tap 4 lands. Veil of Summer, so you're going to draw a card if an opponent casts a blue or black spell, and spells you control can't be countered this turn. Permanents you control get hexproof from blue and from black until the end of turn as well. So it's a good little card. And then just our traditional counter spell. So those are the only 4 counter spells in the deck. And we only have the 1 Planeswalker. And again, this is to help slow down your opponents. Each opponent can't draw more than 1 card each turn. And then the -2 is you look at the top 4, you may reveal a non-creature, non-land card from among them and put it in your hand and put the rest in the bottom of your library. So you can still do that a couple of times. You can do that a couple of times depending on the state of the game and how late it is. You can obviously go through and use her to try to tutor out or draw into your win con. And again, your win con is going to be Divergent Transformation. I think I said Divine Transformation earlier, but Divergent Transformation is going to be the instant that you're looking for to exile your 2 creatures and then go after and get Leveler and Thassa's Oracle for the win. So I hope you guys enjoy the video. Please leave some feedback and comments below. Again, I'll have the link for the Architect tech in there. I think the budget on this was $250, and I think we're at $256, including the commander. So we're right in that range. So again, a lot of fun building this deck. There are ways to even make it a little bit less. You could probably get it under 200 pretty easily. So take a look, and if there's any questions or comments, please let me know. And I hope you guys have a great day. I'll see you next time. Thanks.